I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on absolute functions. Here is an excellent question from one of our subscribers. Let me thank all the viewers and the subscribers for posting excellent questions and taking keen interest in my videos. The question here is to solve absolute value of x less than absolute value of x squared minus 7x plus 6. Now let's try to analyze the quadratic function and also sketch it. So we have here x squared minus 7x plus 6, which we can factor and write as x minus 6 times x minus 1. So that means a parabola. So let's sketch it here, which will have roots at 1 and at 6, right? So we could say a parabola, which could be kind of like this, right? So that is the parabola. Now, when I say absolute value of this quadratic function, like this, that means we are making this negative portion as positive, right? So basically, the graph will be, these two sides will remain as such, but this graph between 1 and 6 will flip over. Do you see that? So this will be kind of like this, right? It will flip over, reflected on the x-axis. So that is how the function is going to look, right? So that becomes the graph of our absolute function. And the absolute value of x could be sketched as a straight line like this. Okay, so you can see from here that there is a portion of parabola which is above the absolute function of x, right? So that is the part of solution we are looking for. So we need to find these 4 points of intersection. Once we find these 4 points, then we can write down the solution. You're getting the idea, right? So parabola is, the absolute value of parabola is above the absolute value of x during these two intervals, after that and before the first one, correct? So that is part of solution which we are looking forward to, correct? Now from this we could write our absolute value of x squared minus 7x plus 6 as a piecewise function, which will be x squared minus 7x plus 6 for interval which is x is less than 1, you can say less than equal to 1, or when x is greater than 6, or we can say greater than equal to 6. But negative of this value, that means minus x squared plus 7x minus 6 when x is between 1 and 6. Since, as you see here, we have to reflect that part of the curve. Now, as far as the absolute value of x is concerned, absolute value of x will be positive x for x greater than or equal to 0 and negative of x when x is less than 0. So these are the constraints in which we are working. Now if you look at the diagram, then the point of intersections are on the right side of the origin. So if we analyze just the right side of origin, that is to say, if we analyze this portion, we actually get our solution, correct? So the diagram actually helps us to restrict some of part of our domain and look into the solution. Okay, so what we are going to do here is that we'll find the solution when x is less than 1 but is greater than 0. So let me say less than equal to, since I used that less than equal to sign here. Okay, so in this portion, and we'll try to figure out if we have any solution in this portion, correct? So in the interval from 0 to 1, absolute value of x is positive, right? So the inequality will be written as x is less than, and this portion is also same, positive, right, as x squared minus 7x plus 6. You also notice that in the interval greater than 6 also we have the same solution. So this solution will also work for the value of x which is greater than 6. Right? So we expect to get these two extreme points from this particular solution, right? So from both intervals, we can actually find one solution, correct? Now solving this is relatively simple. We can take x on the right side, so we get 0 less than x squared minus 7x minus x plus 6. So that means x squared minus 8x plus 6. Now this is a quadratic equation. We are looking for these zeros. We can apply the quadratic formula, correct? And get our solution. So the quadratic formula here will be, we'll find the zeros. That means the point of intersection. So x is equals to minus of b, which is 8, plus minus b square, which is, let me write 8 square, minus 4ac, that means 4 times 1 times 6, divided by 2 times a, which is 1. So that is what we get. So we get two possible solutions of this particular equation. So we can use the calculator and find both the solutions, right? So we have within square root 64 minus 24, which is, let's do within square root 64 minus 24, that gives us 2 square root 10. So we'll add and subtract, so what we get here is 2 square root 10. So we get 8 plus minus 2 square root 10 over 2. And we could write this as 4 plus minus square root 10, correct? So let's find these two values. So 4 plus square root 10 is, it is 4 plus square root 10 is equal to, in decimals, 7.16. We will just approximate this. So one answer is 7.16. The other one will be 4 minus square root 10, which is in decimals 0.837, correct? So these are the two solutions. You could write 4 plus square root 10 and 4 minus square root 10. So these are these 2 points, correct? So the x values here are, we've got this point, which is, you can write 4 plus square root 10, and this point, which is, let me write here, 4 minus square root 10, or decimal equivalent. Is it okay? So we got two extreme points here. Now let's look for the middle points. These we can find by using, when x is in between the two x-intercepts, which is 1 and 6, then the equation becomes x is less than negative value of these, right? Which is negative x squared plus 7x minus 6. Now taking everything to the left side gives us x squared minus 7x plus x plus 6 less than equal to 0. And here we have x squared minus 6x, we can combine these two, plus 6 less than 0. So let's find the zeros. So we'll again use this quadratic formula, find the zeros. So x is equal to, minus plus minus b squared, 6 squared is 36, minus 4ac, which is 24, divided by 2, right? So that gives us 6 plus minus, and 24, 12 over 2. So that is, let me write here, 6 plus minus 4 and 2, so 2 square root 3 over 2. So that gives us 3 plus minus square root 3. Correct? So these 2 points, the x values are 3 minus square root 3, and this one is 3 plus square root 3. Correct? So we got all our points. And now from these points, we are looking for an inequality, right? So we can always write down the solution. Here is the solution. Solution is, as you can see from the graph, left side of the leftmost, so that is from minus infinity to 4 minus square root 10, correct? And then the parabola is higher between these two values, right? So then from 3 minus square root 3 to 3 plus square root 3, union after 4 plus square root 10 to infinity. Do you see that? So that becomes the solution for the given inequality. So I hope the steps are clear. That is how you could do it. So the idea here is to find these 4 points of intersections and then write down the intervals where the absolute value of the quadratic function is greater than the absolute value of x. So I hope that is absolutely clear. Feel free to write your comments and share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for watching and all the best.